All right, chapter 1 and 2 review. We're going to go over day 4. If you would, please take out your red pen. This is a review way back to when I was teaching you in chapter 2.1, okay? So I want you to take out your red pen. If you would, please, this first sentence says, if you have an even amount of negative signs, your answer will be positive. I want you to take your red pen and put a little cloud around the word even, and please underline where it says negative signs. So looking at my example right here, -2 times -5, that's an even amount of negatives, which is why my answer has to be +10. Let's look at the next one. If you have an odd amount, take your red pen, of negative signs, underline the words negative signs, then your answer is going to be negative. You can look right here. -2 times +4. There's only one negative there. Therefore, my answer has to be negative. So here's what I want you to be careful of. On your quiz coming up on Friday, it will have rules for adding and subtracting. It will also have rules for multiplying and dividing, all on the same quiz. So please make sure you know that little song that we sang before, same sign, add and keep, different sign, subtract, that only goes with adding and subtracting. Now today's rules go with multiplying and dividing, all right? So let's use those rules to help us to find the product. First one, Kyler, -5 times -6. +30 is correct. Miles, going to the right, 4 times -6. -24 is correct. Going on to the next one, Kendall, 3 times -4. -12 is correct. Next one, Kamari, 5 times 5. 25. Next one, Kiari, -25 times 0. 0 is correct because anything times 0 always equals 0. And Karis, -1 times -9. Okay, you got to multiply it together. 1 times 9. 9, and we have two negative numbers. So is the answer going to be positive or negative?
Negative.
If you have an even amount of negative signs, your answer is going to be positive. So the answer is +9. Okay? Take out that red pen for me. When we are evaluating the expression, I want us to find the sign first. Okay? So let's look at this first one. -2 squared. That simply means -2 times -2. Zachary, looking at that, there's two negatives. Is this answer going to be positive or negative? Positive. What's the answer?
4.
+4 is correct. Nolan, looking at the next one, it looks just a little different than the one before it. This negative is not in parentheses, which means I am not squaring the negative. What do you think I need to do with that negative?
Well, you're going to multiply 2 times 2.
Very good. So we'll just take that negative and drop it down, and instead we're just multiplying 2 times 2. Now looking at that, Nolan, how many negatives do you see?
1.
Only one. So does the answer have to be positive or negative?
Negative.
Has to be negative. The answer is?
-4.
-4 is correct. Kendall, let's look at the next one. I want us to do some mental math here, okay? Kendall, looking at this problem right here, how many negative signs do you see? So is the answer going to be positive or negative? It will be positive. I want us to go out of order. That commutative property we talked about in day 3, -2 times -5. What would that be? 10. So if I combine those two right there, that's 10. And then I still have to multiply by 17. Kendall, what's my answer? 170. Good job. Because remember, when you multiply by the number 10, you simply just add a 0 to the number. Next one, Kiari. -2 times -5. Sorry, let's go to problem D. According to PEMDAS, Kiari, what should I do first? We're going to do those parentheses first. Kiari, what is -3 plus 4? 1. So this now just means -6 times 1. Kiari, what is that? -6. Good job. Max, next one, -2 times -5. Positive 10 is correct. Looking at the next one, Should I square the negative? No, it's not in parentheses. So everyone drop that negative down. Now let's just look at 4 squared. Chris, what does 4 squared mean?
You square the number.
Square the number. So it means what?
Times it by itself.
4 times 4? What is 4 times 4?
16.
16. Okay, so we're doing 16 times 2. Chris, is this answer going to be positive or negative?
Negative.
It will be negative. And what is 16 times 2?
32.
32 is correct. Box that in. Good job. Okay, so those rules that we just had for multiplying are the exact same rules that we need for dividing. Joshua, first one, negative 18 divided by negative 6. Will this be positive or negative? It's going to be positive because there was an even amount of negative signs. So what's the answer? It is 3. Ariane, let's look at problem B. Negative 32 divided by negative 4. 8 is correct. Next one, Myra, 14 divided by just 14 divided by 2. 7. Kendall, negative 40 divided by negative 8. 5 is correct, okay? Because there were 2 negatives, our answer is going to be a positive. Let's go to the next one. Whenever I see 25s, I think of counting by quarters, okay? So let's think about this. 75 divided by negative 25. Is the answer going to be positive or negative? Negative. How many times does 25 go into 75?
3 times.
3, so the answer is negative 3. All right, I want you to do F, G, and H. All right, let's check to see how you guys did. Guys, 0 divided by negative 6? 0, because anytime you multiply or divide by a 0, it's always going to be 0. Next one, negative 54 divided by 6?
Negative 9.
Negative 9. And then the final one, what'd you guys get?
Negative 7.
Negative 7 is correct. Looking at the next one, it says evaluate the expression when x equals 8 and y equals negative 4. So we're just going to be plugging in the numbers here. Garrick, what should I plug in for the x? 8 divided by 2 times, what should I plug in for the y? Negative 4, good job. There's no work that I need to do on the top, but on the bottom, Garrick, what is 2 times negative 4? Very good, negative 8. Looking at this right here, Garrick, is my answer going to be positive or negative? You got to count the number of negative signs you see. There's 1, that's an odd number. So if you have an odd number of negative signs, will your answer be positive or negative? It will be negative. Okay, so then what is 8 divided by 8? 1. So the correct answer is? Negative 1. Very good. Who would like to help me with problem B? All right, let me have Chris. First things first, negative. What do I plug in for that x?
8.
8. So I've got 8 squared plus 12 divided by, what do I plug in for y? Negative 4. Now I'm going to put it in parentheses there just so I know I am dividing a negative number. Chris, what do you think I should do first?
Exponents.
Exponents, very good. Now, should I square the negative?
No.
No, it's not in parentheses, so we're just going to drop that negative down. Chris, what is 8 times 8?
64.
64. Now I've got plus 12 divided by negative 4. According to PEMDAS, what should I do first?
Divide.
I am going to divide, okay? What is 12 divided by negative 4?
Negative 3.
Negative 3. Then I still got to bring down negative 64 and my plus sign. So, Chris, we have something here where there's a positive and a negative side by side. Who wins?
Oh, the negative.
The negative, because when we add a negative number, it simply means you are subtracting. Now, looking at this, Chris, do I have the same sign there or a different sign?
Same sign and add and keep.
Same sign, add and keep. Add the numbers, keep the sign. What do you get?
You get negative 67.
You are correct. Any questions for how he did problem B?
For x squared, you have to put an 8.
Okay.
Under that will be negative 4 plus
All right, what should I do next?
Times 8 by 8, which is 64, and you divide 64 by -4, which will get you -16.
Okay, so if you do 64 divided by 4, you can do it off to the side if you don't know how to do it in your head. Okay, very good. She found out -16 plus 4.
-16 would be -16 minus 4, and that would be -12.
-12 is correct. Any questions for her on how she did that? Okay, let's go on. Here's our final two for today. Write the fraction or mixed number as a decimal. I want you guys to do problem A with your partner. All right, how many of you would say you can look at that and you know the answer without doing anything else? Okay, how many of you would say you had to show a little work and work it out? Okay, so different people are different, and I'm okay with however you come up with it. Some people turned it into an improper fraction. If you did that, what'd you get?
-9/4.
Okay, -9/4. So how do I find that answer?
Divide.
You divide. All right, I'm going to take 9 divided by 4. Now, before I go on, should my answer come out as a positive or a negative? A negative, okay? So sometimes I'll just go ahead and stick it there, and I'll stick my negative in there so I don't forget the answer is going to be negative, okay? Now, I want to turn it, as it says here, into a decimal. So I'm going to put a decimal here and give myself 3 extra zeros. Okay, how many times does 4 go into 9?
2 times.
2 times 4?
8.
9 minus 8?
1.
How many of you did it this way? Help me out if you did it this way. How many times can 4 go into 10? 2 times 4?
8.
10 minus 8?
2.
Bring down the 0. How many times can 4 go into 20? 5 times 4? 20 minus 20. All right, so that's when you know that you are finished. And what's the answer? Raise your hand if you and your partner got that answer. Okay, so let's move on to the next one, 5/11ths. Myra, how will I find this answer? You divide, okay? So we're going to do 5 divided by 11. I'm going to give myself a decimal point because I'm turning it into a decimal and add 3 zeros. Can an 11 go into a 5? No. Can an 11 go into a 50?
Yes.
How many times?
4.
4 times 11?
44.
50 minus 44.
6.
Bring down the 0. Can an 11 go into a 60?
Yes.
How many times?
5.
5 times 11?
55.
Subtract, what do you get?
5.
5. Can an 11 go into a 50?
Yes.
How many times?
4.
Okay, then we've got 4 times 11 is 44. We get 6. I'm going to bring down another 0. It can go in 5. Do you guys notice anything? It is a pattern that's repeating. What number is repeating?
5.
So you only need to put 0.45, and then if you would, just draw the line on top of it. Okay, how many of you remember doing that from before? Okay, this is something we learned back in elementary school, but I wanted to review because it will be on your quiz on Friday, and it will also be on your final. All right, so for tonight, there is no homework.